4Scout Research has developed R4IoT. Nope, not a Star Wars droid that didn't make the cut, but ransomware for IoT, a next-generation mixed device threat. All in the name of your protection, of course. It begins innocuously enough, with a simple IP camera at a local hospital, and ends in disaster. The attack leverages the IoT device for initial network access, then targets IT devices to propagate malware. Finally, exploiting the insecurity by design of OT devices, it causes real-world consequences. IoT and IT exploits are an increasingly powerful tool in the attacker's arsenal. So let's peel back the layers of this research, illuminate the story of this attack, and discover how we can improve defenses against mixed device threats. The attacker identifies the target by searching for exposed IoT devices online. They enter the network via the vulnerable camera by exploiting a trio of known vulnerabilities, including an authorization bypass, gaining root access. Next, they use NetStat to locate a connected Windows machine and take control of it by brute forcing the RDP credentials. An SSH tunnel is established using the IP camera as a proxy, and the attack toolkit is transferred to this first victim. The criminal disables the firewall and endpoint security and begins scanning for vulnerable domain controllers. Exploiting the zero logon vulnerability, they get access to the DC admin password hash. Having secured admin credentials, the attacker enumerates the IP addresses of every machine in the domain and uses WMI functionality to disable their endpoint security before propagating the R4IoT attack toolkit. These compromised machines phone home to the attacker's command and control server, which they'll use to initiate a series of actions. The first is to fire up a cryptocurrency miner. In the next phase, they exfiltrate confidential data and then encrypt those same sensitive files locally, dropping a ransom note demanding payment. Targeting a healthcare facility or anyone else with ransomware is despicable in itself. But this assault doesn't end there. Whether to strong-arm payment of the ransom, or perhaps just out of pure malice, the attacker uses a custom scanner to discover vulnerable OT devices. They quickly identify a vulnerable PLC and exploit a denial-of-service vulnerability, immediately causing the lighting and ventilation to shut down, all while the attacker watches the results of these activities in real time, thanks to the original compromised IP camera. Mixing IT, IoT, and OT assets on the same network has never been a good idea, but here it represents a severe liability. Imagine how differently this attack would have played out if 4Scout had been protecting this hospital network. Let's have a look. The initial attempt to exploit the camera's vulnerabilities is detected by 4Scout iInspect, as are the subsequent brute force attempts on the Windows workstation, raising alerts in 4Scout XDR. The malicious files dropped on the workstation are picked up by an EDR like CrowdStrike or Microsoft Defender, and also relayed to 4Scout XDR. Before the execution of any of the malicious payloads, cryptominer, ransomware, or OT attacks, 4Scout XDR has pieced together the various detections, alerting the Security Operations Center and initiating automated responses. 4Scout iControl groups devices from the attack and initiates policy-based automatic remediation, blocking a device directly on the switch, quarantining them in a VLAN, or orchestrating remedial actions directly on affected workstations. In order to identify and mitigate this type of mixed IT, IoT, and OT threat, total visibility and enhanced control of every asset is a critical requirement. R4IoT is just one of our groundbreaking research initiatives. For a detailed breakdown, or to read any of our other papers, visit 4scout.com/research. Stay tuned for more incredible investigations from 4Scout Research. I'm Rick Ferguson. Stay safe.